Hi guys, so it's Yasmin Boland here. I think I'm on the Hay House page, which is checking, and I'm about to do a full moon ceremony, which is kind of exciting. I'm going to be doing a sort of a Hay House live, and yes, I am on Hay House, great. I'm going to be doing a Hay House Facebook live, but I'm also going to be doing a Hay House radio show at the same time. See you, darling. So that's exciting. We've got about, I don't know, a few minutes. If you're there, say hello. And gosh, I can see there's already over 100 people, but I can't see anyone saying hello. So say hello, and I will do some cards as well for people now if you ask me a question. I might have to just move this slightly so I can read your questions. Let's have a look. It's better if I've got my glasses on, actually. Where are they? So yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to, I've got my little list actually of what we're going to do right here. So we're going to talk about the full moon, because the full moon has just taken place. We're now into the waning cycle. We're going to talk about the Taurus new moon in general, and then we're going to talk about this one specifically. Now I am going to need to be able to read something. Where the heck have I put my glasses? Oh my goodness, it's a bit oh, that's so embarrassing. I'm going to upload this afterwards and I'm going to cut that bit out, just so you know. You watch. Okay, yeah, so we're going to talk about the Taurus full moon. We're going to talk about this full moon in particular. I'm going to do some chanting. We're going to do the formula for forgiveness. We're going to do a card spread. And we're also going to be doing a full moon crystal spread for those of you who are into crystals. So it's all a bit exciting. Now, can somebody ask me a question? Let me see, why can't I see your questions? Can I see, has anyone got a question they want to ask me? Because I will do you a card reading. I've got my beautiful Moonology cards here, if you don't know them. There we are. Look, Mercury's retrograde, what can I say? It's going to be that kind of day where, oh, here we are. Hi Tom. I can see who's watching, but I can't see any questions from anyone, which is really annoying, because I'd like to be able to answer your questions. So what I'm going to do instead is, in the lead up to going on air on the Facebook Live Hay House Radio part of the proceedings, I'm just going to do a reading. I'm going to do a reading for everybody right now. So for everybody who's watching this, I'm going to start with a one card reading, okay? So whatever question you have, ask your question. Ask it out loud if you can right now. And there's no going back. Ooh, here we go. Don't let pride get in your way. So whatever it is that you want to do regarding the question that you asked, the answer is don't let pride get in your way. Now, if you are watching at home and you're able to run away and get some crystals, if you're going to do a crystal grid with me, I think now might be a really good time to do the crystal grid. To cleanse the crystals before we go officially on air. So the way I've been doing crystal cleansing these past few weeks is months now, is I've been using sound. Now I actually already cleared these crystals a little bit with my sage that I have here, because I like a bit of sage. So here are the crystals. We have, if I get them all right, I'm only learning crystals, as you'll know if you're a regular viewer. So we've got, for the full moon, it's the same crystals every single month. And I do offer them for sale on my website, which is yasminboland.com. But I have been a little bit up in the air with everything lately because we're moving house. So it's a bit hard to kind of keep all the balls spinning, so to speak. But for those of you who've already got the crystals from the past, so we've got, obviously, moonstone, because, you know, you're always going to use moonstone, aren't you, when you're doing a full moon grid. So this is apophyllite, if you know apophyllite. This is selenite, which is strongly associated with the moon, and the goddess Selena, who's the goddess of the moon. This is milky quartz because basically what I got was this download to use white crystals for the full moon, which is exactly what I've done. And this is howlite. So again, another beautiful white crystal. So what I do to cleanse them, and if you've got any crystals handy, just put them up near your speaker. I'm actually just going to put them here on the, I hope you can see that, you can see that, on the chimes, which are beautiful chimes that I got from Byron Bay. And here we go. I'm just going to cleanse them using sound. I've got a couple of minutes until the show, the Hay House radio show starts, so I've got time to do this. So if you don't have any crystals handy, but you do have headphones, put them in your ears because this is going to be cleansing for you as well. So here we go. All right, before I start, I'm just going to put my headphones on because I'm not exactly sure how long till we go on air. I just want to make sure I'm up to date. Hi, Roger. Great, how are you? How long have we got till we go on air? 3 minutes, okay. I'm cleansing some crystals on Facebook, and I'm going to do the whole show on Facebook until we get Kim on at 1:30. Alrighty. Let me know when I've got 5 minutes until Kim comes on, will you? Brilliant. Thanks, Roger. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to, there we go. This will cleanse all of us as well as the crystals. They are really intense chimes, okay, and they're really beautiful. So I will now consider those chimes cleansed, sorry, the crystals cleansed, and we'll do the full moon grid once we are on air. I'm actually going to, as I said, I already saged them as well, so they're super cleansed now. So I'm going to put them away. We'll do that once we're on air in about 1 minute. I'm just going to move my little table back here for those of you who like to see what's going on. And hopefully for Roger, that's good. I've got some books here. I've got my old favourite Moonology. When I was in the States, I found out a lot of you have got my my cards, my beautiful Moonology cards. More of you have got my cards than the book where the cards actually came from. So if you don't know about the book, this is where the oracle cards came from. Moonology is a book I wrote for Hay House back in 2016, I think. It's still in the top 5 of Amazon astrology bestsellers in the UK and about the top 10 or so in the States. It's a great book. I love it. So I'm going to refer to it a bit in a minute because I love referring to it, including I'll be giving you the amazing full moon formula for forgiveness, which is from this book. If you have this book, it's page 143. We'll be doing that. Okay, all right. I think we're about to go live actually. You can also listen to this, the rest of the show, because I'm going to do the show in 2 halves. Half on Facebook Live and half on hayhouseradio.com. Here we go, we're going live. Don't know if you can hear that. Hello everybody out there all over the world. This is Yasmin Boland. I'm coming to you live from my living room in London, England. For those of you on the radio, Hay House Radio, I'm actually doing a Facebook Live at the same time as I do this show. If you have Facebook, if you're near a computer, I strongly recommend you hop over. I'm actually on the Hay House page, going live, joined already by hundreds of people, and you'll be able to see what I'm doing as well as hear about it. But for those of you who can't get to your computer, who are just on the radio, well, it's lovely to be here with everybody. And so what I wanted to do today is I wanted to do something of a full moon ceremony. So whether you're watching on Facebook or you're listening on the radio, we are going to be doing some forgiveness work, okay? It's really, really important at the time of the full moon to let it all go, let it all go. And because we've got Mercury going backwards in the sign of Scorpio at the moment, it's a really good time to let big grudges go, okay? That's one of the big themes, I think, of the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio now with the full moon in Taurus. And the full moon in Taurus can be rather stubborn, okay? So what we're going to do, first of all, I'm going to tell you about the Taurus full moon in general. I'm going to tell you about this one specifically. And then we are going to do some forgiveness. Now, why do we do forgiveness? Well, here's the thing. As you might know, astrology is getting more and more and more popular. And moonology, in fact, is super popular as well these days. And everybody gets very excited about astrology and predictions and using it in conjunction with the law of attraction, which is a lot of what I do. I do a lot of manifesting with the moon. And there's no doubt that that is a fantastically fun thing to do. However, for my money, having worked with this stuff, in inverted commas, for 20 years, I would say it's the work that we do at the time of the full moon that is the most important, okay? So how can that be? If we're manifesting, surely it's the new moon when we make all our wishes that's the most important. Well, actually, I don't think so, because this is it. So at the end of the day, we are all manifesting 24/7. That's just what we're here to do. As Sonia Choquette told me, the earth is a school of manifestation. As Georgia Jean told me, frequency first, manifestation second. So basically what happens is, I like to say feelings first, manifestation second. So basically what's going on is that as we go through life, we are feeling stuff, okay? We're feeling it, and as a result, we are putting out certain vibes to the universe, okay? Now, if you listen to Abraham Hicks every week before my show comes on, this is what they're talking about. It's such an amazing show. I would strongly recommend you listen to it if you're not already listening to it. And basically what they say is, you basically attract what you're thinking about all the time, okay? And one of the best bits of advice I've ever heard from Abraham Hicks is focus on what you do want, don't focus on what you don't want. So back to forgiveness. Why does forgiveness work? Well, forgiveness works because what happens in life is that we get upset, okay? We get upset by people, by situations. Maybe we're upset because we don't have the house we want, or we don't have the body we want, or we don't have the peace of mind we want, or the money, or whatever, okay? Or because we get upset because people do stuff to us, because, people are competitive at work and someone tries to cut us off or cut us down, or we're really annoyed with them. And here in London, when you go to work every day, you go on the tube and it's very easy to kind of get in your ego, like, I want a seat, I really need a seat. And there are people rushing for seats and who's going to get it, and, boshing each other out of the way as they try to get on the tube, or boshing each other on the way as they try to get off the tube. Now, that's all just plain old negativity, okay? And so is things like, trying to take someone else's job, or someone tries to take your job and suddenly you're feeling really defensive and all that. There's just stuff in the world that comes up, or maybe your mum's being really mean to you, or your dad was mean to you when you were a kid, or your boyfriend left you, or your girlfriend cheated on you. Do you know what I mean? Like, stuff happens and we hold on to it. And one thing I've been noticing this Mercury retrograde cycle, now coupled with the full moon in Taurus, which is the opposite sign of Scorpio, is that number one, we've all been feeling all our feelings, but number two, I feel like it's been possible to access some really deep old feelings, okay? And that's what I've been wanting to work with and wanting to let go. And so I really want to start today by doing some forgiveness, okay? And Roger, if you've got some music, I would love some music. If you're on Facebook Live, you won't be able to hear it unless you hop over to Hay House Radio. But if you're on Hay House Radio, we're just going to do a little meditation and just to get us in the zone, okay? And I'm going to be calling in the archangels and the angels. Okay, so wherever you are, whatever you're doing, close your eyes. And just start to become aware of the rise and fall of your breath. And just breathe. Gently and easily. And we're going to call in the Taurus Archangel, Shamuel. Who's an angel I'm still getting to know all these years later. And the goddess Hathor. And we're calling in Selena, the goddess of the moon. And Durga, the goddess with the power to help us destroy evil and ignorance. And now, I'm going to ask you to bring to mind someone you need to forgive. I personally am bringing to mind someone I need to forgive from my childhood. Okay, it doesn't have to be from last week. And I realized today as I was meditating, I haven't really forgiven that person, although I kind of have. But bring to mind, kind of have because I did it earlier today, but let's do it together now. Someone who you need to forgive. And just bring them to mind. I'm going to see the person I needed to forgive right in front of me. And I'm going to say thank you for teaching me lessons I needed to know about friendship. Thank you for showing me how strong I am. And thank you for letting me see your humanity. And just breathe. And now, I'm going to read from my book, Moonology. I'm going to read the formula for forgiveness, which I hope is going to help you forgive. Under the glorious full moon, I forgive everything. Everyone. Every experience, every memory of the past or present that needs forgiveness. I forgive positively everyone. I also forgive myself of past mistakes. The universe is love, and I am forgiven and governed by love alone. Love is now adjusting my life, realizing this. I abide in peace. I bring love and healing to all my thoughts, beliefs, and relationships. I learn my lessons and I move on. I call on my soul fragments to be cleansed by the full moon, and I call on them to rejoin me. I send love to myself and everyone I know and everyone who knows me in all directions of time. Under this glorious full moon, I am healed. My life is healed, and so it is. So be it. Thank you, Roger. So, why is it so important to forgive? I'm not sure if I finished my thought train on that. It's so important to forgive because when we forgive, we basically give ourselves an energetic clear out, okay? So since we're manifesting 24/7, as I just said, giving ourselves an energetic clear out means that we are going to be manifesting what we want, not all the negative stuff that's swirling around us, okay? So if you only do it once a month, do full moon forgiveness. Do a really good red hot go, as we say in Australia, of forgiveness. Okay. All right. So that's a big deal that we've done that. Now, one thing I'm also going to do is I'm just going to try and raise the vibration even higher as we just do a tiny little bit more of resistance relief. Now, why do we want to release resistance? Simple, because everything that we want in our lives that we don't yet have is on the other side of resistance, okay? Now, a lot of resistance comes from the fact that we don't think we're good enough for whatever reason, okay? Whether it was your mom or your dad or your teacher or your friend down the road or whoever that told you weren't good enough, okay? They're the people we need to release. So if you're just thinking now, I get it, okay, I'm releasing that person, I'm forgiving that person. And as I say every month, it's not about saying that what they did was right. It's about saying that you are no longer going to carry around whatever they did with you, okay? But don't be too righteous about it as well. You know, like I was forgiving someone from my past, from my long past today. I still can't quite work out why whatever happened. Like, I don't really know why it happened. But I can tell you one thing is I've never really, blamed myself for it. I've always thought, oh, it was all her fault. But it was probably my fault partly as well for whatever happened. I won't go into it because I don't want to get too personal, and I certainly don't want to, shame anyone from my past. The thing is to accept that we all incarnate here on the earth as souls that are on a journey towards enlightenment. And sometimes there are going to be people who seem to have been sent to test us because guess what? They've been sent to test us. And the full moon, which we have right now, is the perfect time to let it all go. Okay, so I'm just going to ring a bell here. I'm going to ring it away from the microphone so I don't deafen the Hay House listeners, the radio listeners. Hopefully that's not too loud. This is a beautiful bell from India. And it really raises the vibration when you ring bells or play chimes. okay? And I've also got some beautiful doTERRA Forgive. If you have any, if you do doTERRA, which is the essential oils, people, they do a beautiful one called Forgive, which my lovely friend Rebecca De Bono gave me in a roll-on. So just put it on and breathe it in, okay? So we're going to do a resistance release, okay? So can we just have a tiny bit more music, please, Roger, for the people on the radio? And just repeat after me, silently or out loud. I am 100% willing to get everything I can from this resistance release exercise. I am 100% willing to get everything I can from this resistance release exercise. I am 100% willing to get everything I can from this resistance release exercise. So now put your hands on your heart. And just breathe. And I'm going to ask you to bring to mind something that's worrying you at the moment. It might be a fear, a concern, a worry, whatever you want to call it. And now just say after me, I release resistance to letting this go, and just throw it out from your body and put your hands to your heart as if you're pulling something out of your heart. Throw your hands away from your body. I release resistance to letting this go. I release resistance to letting this go. I release this fear. Under the full moon, I release this fear. I release this fear and I replace it with gratitude. So now I want you to bring to mind someone or something you are truly grateful for. And I want you to hug yourself and just think, I'm so grateful for this person, this thing about me, this thing about someone else. Oh, you can think of more than one thing. I'm so grateful for all these things in my life, all these good things in my life. I am so grateful. Okay. And there we go. Thank you, Roger. Okay, so now I'm just going to tell you about the 5 questions that are really important to ask yourself under the Taurus full moon. And it's coming from my book, Moonology. And as I said, I think it was in the Facebook Live I was doing just before I went on air on the radio. I just went to the States where I met lots of wonderful, wonderful people. I did a workshop at the Open Center in New York, and I heard and saw and found out about the fact that my cards are selling like hotcakes. My Moonology cards are selling really, really well in the States, which is absolutely amazing. And I'm so grateful to everyone all over the world who's bought a copy of my Oracle deck. However, what I found out was that actually a lot of people who bought the Oracle deck don't even know that the Oracle deck came from my book, Moonology, which came out in, I think, I keep forgetting when it came out actually. I think it came out in 2016. It's been out about 3 years. It's still at the top of the astrology charts in the UK and pretty near the top in the States. And selling well in Australia. So yeah, Moonology, it's the book where the Oracle cards actually came from. So if you've got the cards but you don't have the book, I highly recommend you go online or go to Barnes & Noble and have a look at it. I know it's in the New York Barnes & Noble because I saw it there myself with my own eyes. And have a look. It's basically a guide to working with the moon throughout the course of a year. So in the book, we have the full moon section, and it's the 5 questions to ask yourself under the Taurus full moon. So I'm just going to run them past you right now. Have I been lazy or overly self-indulgent this month? Well, I can tell you I've definitely been lazy and overly self-indulgent. I've been doing my best to do my yoga and eat properly and all that, and I keep failing. So I'm letting that go at the Taurus full moon. Have I been too obsessed with money or status symbols? Okay, that one's not such a big one for me, but have you been a bit obsessed with money or status symbols this time around, in the recent past? Now is the time to work on that. Have I been stubborn, jealous, or possessive? Well, I can tell you I've definitely been stubborn because stubborn is my middle name. But there are more issues for us to work with: stubbornness, jealousy, and possessiveness. Have I been doing too much comfort eating? Well, for someone who wants to lose about 20 pounds, I did just eat leftover pizza for lunch. So yeah. Just another thing to deal with, but that's why we do the moon work, because if you work with the moon over the period of 12 months, the new and full moon, in 12 months, you will have worked on every single part of your life, okay? So now is the time to think, okay, I've been doing comfort eating. I'm going to let it go. Have I done enough exercise? No, I haven't. How about you? Okay? All this stuff is stuff to make commitments about. So it's stuff to, put in your journal. What I would do after I've done this session with you guys is I'm going to get my journal out and I'm going to go through these questions. You can actually get them on my, I actually don't think we've got it very well advertised at the moment. You can get them for free in my full moon kit, but we need to get that better advertised. I'll put a link to it at the top of the Facebook Live. I'm sorry, I don't know the URL off by heart. And so now with the Taurus full moon, it's a time to find a balance between your feelings and what you can practically do about life, okay? Because Scorpio, where the sun is right now, is all about feelings. Taurus, where the full moon is practical. So it's a time to very much find a balance between all your feelings, whatever you're feeling, and what you can practically do about it. I think we're about to have my guest for the show on air quite soon. But what I'm going to do is before we do that, I want to take a card. Okay, I'm going to take a card. And this is a card for all of us regarding releasing resistance. Okay, it's what we need to know. Okay, I'm going to go for this one. Oh, actually one of my favorite cards. Luck is on your side. It's the new moon in Sagittarius. Luck is on your side. So whatever it is you are wanting to release resistance to, know that you have luck on your side. And I'm just going to give you a quick reading from here as well, from the Moonology book, which I wrote. I always say I wrote it, but I don't remember it. I think I channel all this stuff, frankly. I mean, I really do think that. I know that sounds a bit crazy, but I really do. Okay, so whatever is coming your way, it looks set to put a smile on your face. Yay. The new moon in Sagittarius card can mark the restart of a fun period after a period of feeling low, which is great. The energy is adventurous, even willing to take a few risks, but be careful you don't bet the farm on something here, because the wheel of fortune is still spinning. This card is about exploring life metaphorically by exchanging big ideas with other people and just thinking about your own life philosophies. Perhaps it's time to change your mind about something important. It can also signal that a trip away is coming up, if that's something you're working on to achieve. But the overall message of this card is that whatever happens next will be some sort of gift, even if that simply means widening your world view. Okay, so that's all great. And it actually does say in the additional meanings for this card, start a weekly gratitude practice, such as a Facebook post or journal or blog. And the affirmation for this card, which is great for all of us, is count your blessings literally. Write them down or say them out loud. And one thing I've really been aware of these past few days, I saw this, I actually got this postcard, I don't know where it came from, and it said, gratitude interrupts anxiety. And I'm a worrier, I'm a moon child. I worry for England, as they say. It's so good when you start to get worried. bring in the gratitude. It really, really helps. So I don't think my guest is on the line at the moment. So I think I've got just a little bit more time up my sleeve to have a look in my beautiful Moonology Diary 2019, which sold out all over the world. And I'm going to look at the full moon in Taurus. If I can just find it and see what has been noted. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about Mercury retrograde in Scorpio as well, because we're still going through that. That's why these times are so intense. Okay, so the full moon in Taurus. As the full moon triggers powerful Pluto, it's time to release. For those of you who are watching live, well, anybody anyway, we've actually just had the full moon as well. It's been and gone a couple of hours ago. So every full moon is a chance to release negativity. Some months and some full moons are better than others when it comes to having the power to really purge, and today's full moon is one of those. This is because it's taking place in harmonious aspect to the purge planet Pluto. Now, before I go any further, let me just say, so the new moon actually clashed with Pluto, but now we're getting the full moon harmonizing with Pluto. So in the heavens, what's going on at the moment, it's almost like we've been challenged to detox our lives, to let go of resentment, to do the release work. And now the full moon comes and says, there, very good, well done. Now I'm going to help you. I'm not going to challenge you, I'm going to help you. Pluto is effectively the plumber of the zodiac. Think of when your drain is blocked and you use a plunger or baking soda to clear the blockage. Okay, Pluto is the plunger dissolving the problem. Okay, note that the full moon is in harmonious aspect to Pluto, so this should be a gentle energy rather than a jarring one. Chances like this don't come along all the time, so be sure to do the work. Which we've done a bit of that work here, and if you've got the diary, there's actually another exercise in there that you can do, the no more exercise. If you're still unclear about why releasing negativity is a good thing, the answer goes something like this. I kind of said this a bit earlier, but let me see if I wrote it better when I wrote the diary. We are all creating our reality based on what we are putting out there energetically. If you release negativity such as upset, drama, and jealousy, you're far less likely to radiate negativity and thus more able to attract positivity. So there you go. It's the same message twice you've had. Ideally, the full moon releasing is something you should do every month. Think of it as an energetic clear out. It's hard to overemphasize how important this is. Okay, and I'm just going to tell you where the full moon is triggering your chart. Make sure you listen for your rising sign if you know it. So if you're Aries or Aries rising, it's in your second house of cash, property and possessions. So expect some kind of movement there. For Taurus or Taurus rising, it's in your first house. So it's about changing your appearance. It's about changing the way the world sees you. So if you want to kind of change the way you look and you're Taurus or Taurus rising, now's the time. Gemini or Gemini rising is taking place in your 12th house, which is your spirituality zone. So it's time to turn the corner on your spiritual path. If you are Moonchild, Cancerian, if you're a Moonchild or Moonchild rising, it's in your 11th house. So it could be turning the corner, letting go, releasing resistance to do with a friend, maybe a friend who upset you. Maybe you did some release work about that now, where you'll see the results. Let it go. Send them some love. I know, but they're there because you agreed to have this nonsense with them so that you could evolve as a soul on the way to Nirvana. If you're Leo or Leo rising, it's taking place in your 10th house. So that's your career and ambitions. So it's like for you especially, there's a real tug of war going on between your home life and your work life, and you need to find a balance. And there can be some kind of development for you at work now. Virgo or Virgo rising, it's in your 9th house. So for you, it's kind of like, it's sort of about the challenge to balance between, you know, being happy about where you are versus all the places you want to go and the places you want to see. And it's a time to turn the corner as well when it comes to study or travel. For Libra or Libra rising people, it's in your 8th house. So it's about money and sex, okay? Somehow that's going to be highlighted for you. There may be some kind of emotional investment coming up. For Scorpio, it's taking place in your, or Scorpio rising, it's in your 7th house, which is your love zone, okay? So expect developments in your relationship, but there's also a tug of war, a push-me-pull-you going on between your ego and what you need versus your partner and what they need, or your ex. Sagittarius or Sagittarius rising, it's in your 6th house, and the challenge there is really to find a balance between kind of a bit what we were talking about before, about finding a balance between the practical and the numinous. I met Ruby Warrington from the Numinous in New York the other day. It was lovely to meet her. The numinous means sort of the mystical. So it's a balance between the numinous and the practical if you are Sag or Sag rising, especially because you've got crazy old Jupiter in your sign having too much fun. He's not crazy, but he's a lot of fun. Capricorn or Capricorn rising, it's your 5th house, and for you there's going to be a tug of war between your friends and what they want, and you and what you need. Aquarius or Aquarius rising, you've got the opposite to Leo. You've got the full moon in your 4th house, stretching across to your 10th house. So for you, it's the same thing. It's about really needing to find a balance, like a work-life balance. But in your case, you probably need to focus a bit more on your home life. That's where the emotions are going to be coming up. And finally, Pisces or Pisces rising, it's in your 3rd house. So it's time for you to turn the corner. The way you're thinking, the way we think affects everything in our lives. Everything, everything, everything. Okay, so yeah, if you've got my book, my diary, the 2019 diary, have a look. There's the No More exercise. I actually forgot I called it that. This is a powerful week, and I've given you a little exercise to do, which I might include again in the 2021 diary, which I'm writing at the moment. And can I just say, while I'm talking about my diary, so I'm writing the 2021, I'm finishing it. I've actually nearly finished it. I'm kind of going over it now. But if you don't have my Moonology 2020 diary, here it is. It's so beautiful with a gorgeous cover. It's actually one of the cards from my Oracle deck, drawn or painted by the wonderful Nyx Rowan. So this is it, and this one is all about manifesting, which is so good because it's so in tune with everything that's been going on this year, with everybody like Gabby Bernstein and Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra and everybody in the whole wide world basically talking about manifesting. This is kind of like a guide to manifesting for 2020, my Moonology Diary 2020. So if you don't have it yet, if you don't have it yet, go and buy it and save the receipt, because in a short amount of time I'm going to be putting up a new page where you'll get some bonuses. So if you have your receipt, whether you buy it from Amazon or Books A Million or Booktopia or Barnes & Noble or Waterstones or, you know, wherever you buy it from, keep the receipt, and then you'll be able to claim your free bonuses, which will be a whole lot of stuff about, you know, what's going on in 2020, the astrology of 2020 basically, and the Moonology of 2020. I have to say, I loved writing this Moonology 2020 book, but I'm really loving the 2021 as well. The thing is, in 2020, we're going to have really intense astrology, so watch out for that. Okay, so as far as I can see, my guest is not around. It is actually, she actually is in Australia, and it was to be about 2 a.m. her time. So my bet is that Kim, that's her name, is asleep somewhere, probably with her phone right by her ear on silent or something. And I think she's not going to join us. So I think I'm going to probably leave it there. But before I go, I'm actually going to take calls on the Hay House Radio side of things. So before I end the Facebook Live, I actually want to do a chant, because I love a good chant, and I really wanted to invoke the goddess Lakshmi, because this full moon is taking place in Taurus, okay? Taurus is ruled by the planet Venus, and the planet Venus is associated with the goddess of love, Lakshmi, who's the Hindu goddess. And I always feel I need to explain, because, you know, I was raised a Catholic, but a lot of my spiritual exploration has actually taken place in India, where I first, basically because I went to this ashram there about 15 years ago now for the first time. I've been there I don't know how many times now. And it was a way for me to step into my spirituality in a way that I wasn't able to, having grown up a Catholic. So I just want to say, I'm not a Hindu. I don't pretend to be a Hindu. And I know that some people might say, well, why are you doing a Hindu chant? Well, because I was taught how to access the divine and the goddess in India. So they taught me in Sanskrit. That's just how it goes. So I hope nobody minds me singing in Sanskrit when I don't, I basically don't speak Sanskrit, that's for sure. Okay, so here we go with my disclaimer in place. I'm going to be doing a chant to the goddess Lakshmi. Now, Lakshmi is the goddess of, amongst other things, love, motherhood, abundance. In India, you'll see all the shops are called like Lakshmi Dry Cleaners and Lakshmi Supermarket, because everybody wants to invoke Lakshmi because she's the goddess that gives love and abundance. So that's what everybody wants, obviously. So, yeah, but she's also associated with the sign of Taurus. The full moon today is in the sign of Taurus. So I'm going to do it 3 times. A chant to Lakshmi. Here we go. Om Lakshmi Namaha. Om Lakshmi Namaha. Om Lakshmi Namaha. So why do we invoke the goddess? Because the mother, the goddess, looks after her children. So whatever you're going through, you can just, if you don't want to do chanting, you can literally just go on the internet and Google Lakshmi, which is spelled L-A-K-S-H-M-I-E, amongst other ways. It's spelled a few different ways. You can just Google Lakshmi and get a printout of Lakshmi, and or save her as the back of your lock screen on your laptop or your phone or whatever, and you'll be bringing Lakshmi into your life. I actually first got to know Lakshmi when I wanted to have a baby, and as I often admit, I was no spring chicken, and I was in India at the time when I was really thinking about the fact that I wanted to have a child. And someone said to me, well, you should talk to Lakshmi, and that's how I got to know Lakshmi. And what I did was I put a picture of Lakshmi on the back screen of my laptop, so I saw Lakshmi every single time I used my computer, which was every day. And I'm convinced that she helped me conceive my beautiful son, who's now 13, and very quickly as well. So if you're looking to conceive, I think you could do a lot worse than working with Lakshmi. So, and one last thing before I end this Facebook Live, I just want to say there is now only about 5 days left to the end of this Mercury retrograde cycle. So if you've been losing your mind with Mercury retrograde, join the club. It's been a really intense retrograde because, as I said, it's taken place in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio feels all its feelings, okay? So that's why we've all been feeling all our feelings. And because Mercury retrograde connects us with the past, that's why some of us have had lots of feelings from the past coming up. I was saying today when I did my forgiveness, I was forgiving someone from years and years and years ago, like probably, I hate to say it, like, I'm not even going to say how long. Think a very long time. And, all those feelings are coming up because of Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. And for those of you who haven't got it yet, I do have a fantastic book out. It's called the Mercury Retrograde book. I'm really happy with it. I co-authored it with astrologer Kim Farnell, and it's basically a guide to everything you need to know about Mercury retrograde. But the particular reason I wanted to mention it now is because we've only got a week left of Mercury retrograde, which means that if you want to get the bonuses that come with this book, you need to buy the book from the URL I'm going to give you in a minute, which is mercuryretrogradebook.com. And if you buy it now, if you go to that page, you'll see there's a whole lot of bonuses you can get, including my free 3-part mini astrology online course, which will, if you're getting into astrology and you want to know, okay, what's next? I kind of understand my sun sign. I know what my rising sign is. What's next? It's a free 3-part course, which will help deepen your understanding of astrology straight away. There's also Mercury retrograde stuff, including a video, a 15-minute explainer video, which will help you to understand why your rising sign is so important and why you should always be using your rising sign when you're thinking about, for example, where Mercury retrograde is in your chart, or where you're thinking, where is the full moon in my chart? You know, astrology is having a moment. This is the time to learn astrology. Come with me on a learning adventure. Actually, once you do the free, if you do the free 3-part course that you can get if you buy this book from the mercuryretrogradebook.com website, you only can get it from there. You'll actually be offered access to my to buy my Hay House full comprehensive course as well, and maybe a little bit of a discount if you get lucky. I'm not sure about if it's on discount or not, but that's a really good thing if you want to learn astrology. So there we go. That's Mercury retrograde. So look, on that note, I've got some people waiting to talk to me on Hay House Radio. So I'm going to say a big kiss